Hey there, welcome back to another video. Just like last time, my name is Nick, and let's jump into it. Before I actually get into the actual meat of the video, I just want to give you guys a bit of an update. So I know I was posting videos and then it kind of dropped off over the last week or two. My wife had a baby, and that baby ended up in the NICU for 2 weeks. So we were going back and forth, spending time with her at the hospital. So our schedule's been kind of consumed by that over the last little while. But I am back. I got my notes right here, like always, and I am making videos. And this one is about previewing the PLL playoffs for the first round. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the standings, how everything fell, and then I have the stats, how they matched up, and how the teams did against each other in the regular season. All right, let's get into it. Over in the East, we had the New York Atlas winning that conference with a record of 7-3. Right behind them in second, we had the Maryland Whipsnakes at 4-6. Then we had the Philadelphia Water Dogs also at 4-6, and then the Boston Cannons came in fourth at 4-6. So yes, all three teams that were not New York Atlas, 4-6 in the East. In the West, we had Denver winning that conference. They also went 7-3. Right below them, California Redwoods, these guys right here went 5-5. Carolina Chaos also went 5-5. And then the Utah Archers joined everybody in the East, not named the Atlas, and went 4-6. The Atlas and the Outlaws, because they won their conferences, get a bye to the second round of the playoffs. And actually, the way the regular season fell, the Outlaws had a bye week in Boston, which was the last week of the regular season. Then there was a bye week between that week and the first round of the playoffs. So there were no games played this past weekend. And then they get a bye the next round. So they're going to have 3 weeks of rest going into the second round of the playoffs. And we will see how that fares for them, if they're going to be rusty and sluggish from not playing games, or if the 3 weeks of rest is going to get them back to 100% and see how that goes for their matchup. But the only two teams missing the playoffs will be the Boston Cannons and the Utah Archers. Excuse me, the Archers. And with the Archers missing, that means we will not see a three-peat in championships in field lacrosse like we saw this past spring with the Buffalo Bandits in the box lacrosse NLL. They've won 3 in a row. So we won't see that in PLL. Bit of a shame. Would have been kind of weird because they would have had the same 3-year run where they won the championships. But now let's get into this whole jumble in the East and why three teams are tied at 4-6 and the Cannons are the one missing the playoffs. It comes down to score differential. Boston has a negative 11 score differential, which means they gave up 11 more points than they scored. And that was the worst out of the three teams, score differential being the tiebreaker. So Boston booted out of the playoffs. See you next year. Both of these games will be played on Saturday, the 23rd, in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Game one will be 6 p.m. It'll be the Philadelphia Water Dogs versus the Maryland Whipsnakes. And then, like I said at the beginning, I got some stats to go over. It's just the leaders in the stat categories for both teams. So I'm going to do Philadelphia Water Dogs first, and then I'll jump over and do the Whipsnakes all the way down. So in points, the Philadelphia Water Dogs leader is Michael Sowers with 41 points. With 1 point goals, it's Kieran McCardle with 9 points. I'm sorry if I mess up anybody's name. Still learning players' names. So with assists, it's Michael Sowers again with 23 points. In face-off percentage, it's Alec Stathakis with 52%. Again, I'm sorry if I butcher somebody's name. And then with caused turnovers, it's Ben Randall with 13. And then jumping over to the Maryland Whipsnakes, their leader in points is TJ Malone, who right now, last I checked, was questionable with some back issues, but I have not double checked. I should have before I started recording, but he was questionable with some back issues. 1 point goals is Matt Brado with 22. Assists is TJ Malone again with 14 points. Or 14 assists, my bad. Face-off percentage is Joseph Nardle with 59%. And then calls turnovers is Ajax Zapatillo with 17. For goalie comparisons, I just pulled who had the most games played for the goalies because I assumed those were who the starters were going to be. So for Philadelphia, we got Matthew DeLuca in it. He played 6 games this regular season with a 54% save percentage and scores against average of 12.5. With Maryland, we have Emmett Carroll. He's played 7 games this season, had 56% saves, 56% save percentage, and his scores against average was 10.7. In the season matchup between these two, their first matchup was week 2 in Charlotte, North Carolina. The Water Dogs took that by a score of 16-12, and their second matchup was week 8 in Fairfield, Connecticut. The Whip Snakes got some revenge, took that game 10-7 over the Water Dogs. My prediction for this game, I think the Whip Snakes might come out hot in the first quarter. They might get off to a bit of a lead. I do think the Water Dogs end up taking this game. I'm picking Water Dogs 13-9. Our second game of the weekend will be 8:30. It might be at 8:30. It's probably going to be a little bit later. I've noticed ESPN has been kind of off with the start times, so it's listed at 8:30. But game 2 will be Carolina Chaos versus the California Redwoods. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to read off the stat leaders for the Chaos, and then I'll do the Redwoods. So for points, we have Jackson Ecker with 28. In 1-point goals for the Chaos, also Jackson Ecker with 17. Assists, we have Owen Hiltz with 11. Face-off percentage is Justin Inascio. Again, sorry about last names, with 60%. And calls turnovers is Troy Ree with 11. On the Redwoods side, we have our points leader is Chris Kavanaugh with 37 points. 1-point goals is Dylan Malloy with 25. Assists, Chris Kavanaugh with 12. Face-off percentage, TJ Ireland with 60%. And calls turnovers is Brian Tevlin with 12. Same thing, I just took the 2 highest goalie games played per goalie and just wrote that down. So for Carolina, we got Blaze Reardon. He's played 10 games this season. Played in all 10 actually. Has a save percentage of 57 and a scores against average of 12.6. For California, we got Chase Ireland. He's played all 10 games as well. Has a save percentage of 49% and has a scores against average of 13. In the season series for these teams, their first matchup was also week 2 in Charlotte, and the Redwoods took that game 16-10. In week 7 at Chicago was their second matchup, and kind of the same thing. The Chaos got some revenge, took that game 12-10. My pick for this game is going to be interesting because I'm not sure how to feel, because in my pick'ems all season for the PLL, the Chaos have really been causing chaos with my pick'ems, because I would pick them, they would lose, then I wouldn't pick them the next week, and then they would win, and then I would pick them the next week and they would lose. So if you're a Chaos fan, I'm sorry. If you're a Redwoods fan, I'm also sorry if my one time picking the Chaos actually pans out. I'm taking the Chaos 14-12. So if you like the daily sports content that I will be getting back to, maybe drop a subscribe, hit that thumbs up button if you really like my content. And if you're a PLL fan, leave a comment down below on who you think's going to win these games or why I'm wrong. for who I picked. Until next time.